Today I'm going to make applesauce cookies. This is a moist, spicy cookie, perfect for your holidays and gift giving. This is a cookie that my grandma, when she was alive, used to make every Christmas. And it's a very sentimental cookie for me, brings back fond memories of my grandmother. And I don't know how old this recipe is. I know she used to have cookbooks like Betty Crocker and other cookbooks, name brands I can't think of. And this was a regular cookie every year when she made her holiday baking, excuse me. So just to put it out there, I'm 55 years old. And so my grandma was making these back in the 70s when I was, a young girl, teenager. So I love these cookies and I make them every year in honor of her. So let's get started. In my bowl, I'm going to mix 1 cup of granulated sugar and a 1/2 cup of shortening and 1 large egg. So let me go do that and I'll bring you back to the next step. Okay, I combined my sugar and shortening and 1 large egg, and I beaten it until fluffy. The next step is we're going to stir in our applesauce and raisins. I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video, you need to put in a bowl 1 cup of applesauce and a cup of seedless raisins. I'm using dark raisins. You can use the golden raisins. I don't think it matters. It's your preference. And I let them sit in the applesauce for at least 30 minutes so they can, get moist and constitute. So also on your raisins, make sure they're fresh, not dried up and shriveled. If they're looking like that, then you need to throw them out and buy some fresh, brand new raisins. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to add this, our applesauce and raisin mixture, to the beaten ingredients. So I'm going to do that. This is the only cookie recipe that I make that uses, or at least like 1 or 2 that I use, that uses shortening. I use Crisco shortening. Normally I use butter in all my cookies, but this recipe calls for a 1/2 cup of shortening. So we're going to stir this in to the mixture. It's going to look not very appealing, but it will be a pretty dough when it's all combined. Okay, and there you go, and I'll bring you back to the next step. Okay, we're on to the second part of the applesauce cookies. Here are my dry ingredients. In my bowl I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, salt, baking powder, cinnamon, baking soda, nutmeg, and cloves, all sifted together. You must sift it all together. And this is what it looks like. Okay, when it's all sifted. And then now we're going to add this to the wet ingredients. Excuse my bowl. Okay, like so, and I'm going to mix this and I'll bring you back. Okay, here is my combined wet and dry ingredients, and the last step is to add 1 cup of chopped nuts of your choice. I'm using pecans. You can use walnuts, or if you're allergic, you can leave them out. So we're going to mix that in there like this. This is a very loose dough, I would say. Not as thick like a chocolate chip cookie dough, because all the applesauce in here. This is, like I said, a delicious tasting cookie with all the spices in it. And they bake up really soft. They're not a hard cookie. And this is it. Here's the batter. And now I'm going to put the soft dough by teaspoons, 2 inches apart, on baking sheet. I'm going to bake these at 375 degrees from 12 to 15 minutes. And I use a small cookie scooper. So again, I'm going to do them that way. and then I'll bring you back when they're out of the oven. Okay, I just wanted to show you the cookies before they go in the oven. I have a dozen of applesauce cookie dough right here. I made these with a small cookie scooper, so they're all uniform and the same size. So these are going to go into the oven, and when they're done, I'll show you what they look like. Okay, here are my applesauce cookies, and they baked up really nice. They took 8 minutes in my oven. For some reason the recipe said 10 to 15 minutes. That is wrong. My oven, like I said, 350 degrees for 10 minutes and they were done. So don't forget, this is an old recipe. Maybe the ovens were calibrated different back then. I don't know. But anyway, let's get to the cookie. Here's the applesauce cookie. As you can see here, it's very moist because of the applesauce and the raisins. There's a raisin there. I used chopped pecans. You can use walnuts or leave them out entirely. I'm going to break it open to show you the beautiful moistness and the nuts in here. See that? It's a delicious cookie. I already ate one. You can taste the, the hint of the cloves and the ginger. I'm sorry, not ginger. Cloves and the cinnamon and nutmeg, and the raisins really give it a chewy texture. As you can see, it's a little bit let me put this down. Very, very moist. See that? Look at that. It's a very soft cookie. Now these cookies you need to put in an airtight container, and you want to keep them from any air getting to them. So here you go. These are my grandma's recipe, her applesauce cookies. She used to make these for us growing up every year for Christmas, and I wanted to share this recipe with you. Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas, everybody.